Your big acquisition this offseason was Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got Luca. We know what Luca is. You have Kyrie, a guy that can make big shots, tremendous handles. How were you able to convince Klay to come to Dallas when his dad wanted him to go to LA? He grew up as a Lakers fan. Kobe was his idol. How did you convince him join us in Dallas?
I mean, credit goes to Nico and Kyrie and J-Kidd, right? They know him, they've played with him, they understand him, and that's literally why we brought Nico Harrison in, because of his relationships with players.
Okay.
And so they went out and spent time with him, got to know him better, and really, and I think Klay was ready for a move, right? You know, all the grief he got last year, particularly the way it ended. So the timing was right. And, you know, kudos to Klay for being willing to make the move, and kudos to Nico, J-Kidd, and Kai for making it happen.
Is it hard to convince players when they've had such success in one locale and they've been there for an extended period of time, and that's their identity? They're known. He's always going to be known as a warrior. No matter what happens, if they win a title here, he'll still be known as a warrior. Is it really hard to convince players to join a new franchise when they've been associated with one franchise for so long?
Depends if they're the number one guy or number two guy or number three guy.
Okay.
Right. If you're number one, like, Steph's not going anywhere. Right.
You're right. You can understand.
You know, now LeBron's moved around just for different reasons, but the number two guy, if it's not going the way you want, then yeah, the door is open. But it takes somebody who's special, somebody who's got the confidence in themselves, somebody who's got the ambition, and somebody who really has got something to prove.
Right.
And Klay's got a lot to prove, which is great, because those are the kind of guys you want on your squad, right? Because they're going to work harder than ever to prove people wrong.
Mm-hmm. You come off one of your best seasons since you won the NBA title. You get to the NBA Finals. Luca had an outstanding year. I think he finished top 3 in the MVP. Kyrie was sensational. Why weren't you guys able to get over that hump against the Boston Celtics? You lose that series 4-1.
Celtics are good.
They were very good.
Yeah, right? I mean, they didn't have a lot of weaknesses. And so, and in order to beat them, we had to make a lot of threes. And we just didn't. You know, our three-point shooting wasn't up to par where it was during the playoffs or the regular season. We couldn't get stops like we needed to, and we couldn't get the rim the way we needed to. When Jaylen Brown is blocking shots at the rim and being a rim protector, you know it's not your day. So, you know, credit to them. But, you know, adding Klay, adding Najee, I mean, we got better.
Right. The previous offseason, you added Kyrie. You make the trade for him, but you re-sign him in free agency. How did you know that he and Luca would play so well together? Because Luca needs the ball, Kyrie needs the ball to do what he's done, but he can play off the ball. How did you know that they'll work together?
Because they're both basketball savants, right? They understand the game. They know how to play. They know what it takes to win. They complement each other in a lot of ways. You know, Luka's big, strong, and not so quick, where Kyrie's quick, handles. I mean, they both got handles, right?
Yes.
Out of the world handles, but just plays the game a little differently. And when you have a backcourt that can complement each other and both are willing to let the other guy lead when the time is right.
Correct.
That's when it's going to work. Like when we first traded for him, they couldn't figure each other out because they hadn't had a preseason together. And then, you know, last year it took a little time. I mean, we didn't get it right at the beginning, but by the end of the year, they were playing off each other great. And it was like, because Luca just loves to start a game by taking over.
Right.
And then Kai is fourth quarter Kai, right? And if Kai's rolling, Luca's like, here you go. And if Kai's not rolling, he goes, give me the ball, it's my turn, right?
Okay.
And when they got that respect and that relationship, that's when everything changed.
But you know, Kyrie had a history of what transpired. I mean, Cleveland, and then it was Boston, and it didn't work out with the Nets. So how do you deal with a player that, you know, it might not have worked out over here, it might not have worked out over there, it might not have worked out over there, but you know what? I believe in this player, and it's going to work out over here. How do you assess that, Mark?
You talk to him. And you talk to people around him. You watch what happens, you know, how their actions are. When you watch Kyrie, before he came to the Mavs even, when you watch Kyrie after the game, you know, you see it in football, right? There's guys who'll swap jerseys, slap each other, right, and walk out the door and never talk to each other again.
Correct.
Kyrie is one of those guys, like, he's going to hug you.
Embrace it.
Yeah, he's going to hug you like he's known you for 20 years, and you guys are first cousins.
Yes.
Right? And that says something when guys are getting that close to each other. And so when you talk to players, they loved him.
Yes.
Nobody nobody had a bad word to say about Kyrie that ever stepped on the court. And so to me, that was all we needed to know.
Okay.
And then from there, all the things you said, well, okay, what went wrong in Boston? What went wrong in Brooklyn? A lot of that is maturity, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it was circumstances too, right? How often is COVID going to hit?
Right.
You know, and lead to those circumstances. And what we learned was you just let Kai be Kai.
Okay.
You know, and I love talking to the guy. And I say this all the time, like, you know, if you go back to your college days and you're sitting in the dorm and you're hanging out with friends, there's a couple guys that just want to get trashed, right? There's a couple guys that want to get trashed and talk about girls, right? And then you all talk about sports. Kai's the dude that's sitting there wanting to talk about world peace,
Okay.
right? Why aren't we fixing this? You know, how do we end hunger? He's just got that, he's got a heart of gold. He's got a huge heart and he wants to help people, you know? And even if you look at his social media, it's about his tribe, right? It's about the people around him and how he can lift people up, right?
Yeah.
His community. And that, once we saw that, I mean, to me, it was easy to make that decision.
When you hear people like, man, they're misunderstood. What was your perception of Kyrie before you actually got around Kyrie and found out what type of genuine person that he is?
Honestly, before I did the work, I thought he was a team killer.
Okay.
Right? I was just like, because I never talked, there was no point, there was no reason for me to talk to people about him.
Correct.
Right? It's just like, hey, if he doesn't want to play when the Mavs come to town, great, right? If things don't work out on another team, great. But, you know, when the opportunity to trade for him came, it's like, okay, let's do the work. And, you know, Nico did the work, J-Kidd knew him, Nico knew him for years, and it was like, okay, let me talk to folks, and everybody loved him. And so then you looked at the organizations he was at, and, you know,
that didn't help the situation.
yeah, right. And so, I mean, I knew all these owners, right? And I knew the circumstances. And so, you know, it wasn't a hard decision.
Right. When you sit down and talk to Kai, and you mentioned it earlier, like you look at his social media feed and he's talking about things that normal guys his age probably not talking about.
Yeah.
But when he got dropped by some of these major sponsors, what did you share with him?
I was like, can I help? And obviously, you know, when it comes to shoes, which is big money off court,
Yeah.
we got Nico Harrison right there, right? And so Nico gave him a lot of guidance and support. He had talked to him and worked with him at Nike. So Nico was great. And, you know, I talked to Kai about business and he was just like, Mark, I just want to be myself, lead the way I want to lead and be creative. And he found a great deal, right? And he's been making it work.
Right.
If you notice the deals he signed since he came to us, there's no problems, right? There's no issues because we just let Kai be Kai. And when you do that, good things happen.
Right. Now, is it true that when Giannis was a free agent, did you want to try something? Because I'm reading out, it says like you passed on Giannis.
No, okay, two different things, right? So when Giannis was getting drafted,
Right.
That's
when you passed.
That's when we passed, right? Because we had Dirk, and this was like 2012, I think it was, or 2013, and we just won the championship 2 years ago. And so some of our people wanted to go for Giannis.
Okay.
I wanted to trade down, and we ended up getting Shane Larkin, not because so much of Shane, who could play, but we needed that cap room to go out and try to sign somebody
Right.
to propel Dirk. We wanted to go for the gold again.
Get another one.
Right, we wanted to get another one. So, you know, but it's just the way it worked out. And had we gotten Giannis, we'd never gotten Luca.
Wow.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party because you know we like to do something before two something.